Hey guys, it's the Raw Wrap Up. I'm Sorg at Sorgatron on the Twitters. Up here with Mad Mike, my friend in Poughkeepsie, New York. How you doing, sir?
I am doing way better because I know how to navigate New York City better than The Rock.
Better than the Raw. Yeah, he was kind of all over the place. That was kind of a long way to go
Oh my God!
to get around there.
All right, I want this as a disclaimer first of all before we even jump into whatever else happened on Raw. If you're flying into Queens, you drive into Manhattan. That's fine. I'm okay with that. No one swims in any of the New York City rivers, let alone to Staten Island.
Hey, I got to, that's an expensive toll getting across there.
No, it's not. It's a $2.50 ferry ride. Sorg.
Which one? A ferry ride? Yeah, a ferry ride. But the Rock doesn't do the ferry, and that bridge is like 15.
Are you calling The Rock a homophobe, Sorg?
No. I just think he's afraid of small boats.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
all right.
that is exactly what I'm saying.
Yes,
Exactly
okay.
what I'm saying.
I'm okay with that. But then to go from Staten Island to all the way up to the Bronx, that's a trip. That's
Okay.
a 2-hour trip.
Okay.
I don't care who you are. That's a 2-hour trip. And then to go from the Bronx, because he said he went from Yankee Stadium. From Yankee Stadium to go down to Barclays Center, that's a 2.5-hour trip. There's no way he had that much time today. There is no way.
But he's the Rock, and he survived the Rock I can't even say the Rock apocalypse. Was that it?
Rock apocalypse. Yeah.
Apocalypse, that horrible ad or app or whatever the heck it was. Anyways, that's enough of that. That's not what we're here for. Well, it is partially what we're here for. But anyways, we got The Rock, we got Rusev in the biggest surprise we've had on Raw for the longest time I can remember. I didn't see anything about that coming along, and there he was, and did we confirm this? Did he come out exactly during half the game?
I believe he did come out during half.
It sounds like they did. Against Rusev, they canceled the Big Show thing over the controversy. I have finger quotes if you're on the audio version of this, over on iTunes or Stitcher for the Wrestling Mayhem Show super feed. But it was nice, I know we got our youngin in their hangout. Really, he's always down on The Rock. He doesn't get it. He wasn't there. He wasn't there back in the day. But
well, to be fair, the past couple times The Rock has been back, I've been down on The Rock too, but this time was fine.
It's a one-time thing too. It's not a full-on storyline like going into WrestleManias or anything like that. So it's nice. It's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, and plus he put Rusev over, over better than Big Show ever could. Better than Big. The only thing, he punched Rusev out of the ring. Whoop-de-doo, big deal. It's not like he lost. It's not like he lost his undefeated streak to The Rock.
Exactly. You can do something like that. That's fine. That's great.
Even if Rock gave him a rock bottom and then slapped Lana on the ass, that still would have been fine.
Lana worked great too. Aside from that, the other thing, and this is again that kind of stringing together thing, that's like the Raws of old, and I know you appreciated it. Speaking of getting around in New York City, Dean Ambrose, of course. Again, they started with kind of the attack on Seth Rollins with Ambrose and Cena. They met up in the middle and for this handicap match they were going to have at the end, and Dean bails and says he's going to go to freaking Coney Island. We see him get on the subway.
The only thing that would have been better is if they had somehow if they had filmed it earlier, Ambrose on the Wonder Wheel.
Yes.
If he had a GoPro and he was like, "Hey, it's me, Dean Ambrose. I hope Cena's gonna have fun tonight. I hear he's gotta fight all three of them now, so I'm just gonna enjoy the Wonder Wheel." And they did a giant wee.
I'm hoping maybe there'll be a video they put out later, what it'll be on the network or the app or the YouTube, what you didn't see on Raw last night. It'll be like the Raw backstage report or something.
Or the special interview Michael Cole has on the Wednesday will be with the vendor that Dean Ambrose stole the hot dog cart from.
Maybe they'll show clips of it from on main event, because then they do that they have him talk about how he got out of the room, which was there's a back door. Oh, freaking idiots.
Yeah, if they just have a video clip of Ambrose buying a hot dog and then tossing the money, like tossing $100 to pay for it, while he goes and tries and grabs the $100 bill that's flying away. Dean Ambrose just runs off with the whole cart.
That's true. It's like, how did he acquire the card? There's so much mystery to this Dean Ambrose fellow. All right, I want to touch. Well, let's close that loop a little bit. Of course, you had the main event. You had to come in with the hot dog cart. There was a food fight. Tremendous. This is his Zamboni moment.
Sorg, I relished the whole segment.
Oh,
LB's asleep. I can do that.
Yeah. He doesn't listen to this. I know he doesn't listen to this. I'm going to get a tweet tomorrow. I actually listen to it, you assholes. Anyways. Oh, jeez. What's next? No, it was fantastic. I think we were like, we're going to get another thing. Oh, my God, they got disqualified. We don't care about the match. We know it's going to be a handicap every time, but all we care about, what's Dean going to do? Everything else is secondary. Everything else is set up for the closer. That is, what is Dean going to do?
If this turns into, like... Because, I mean, he's basically already Stone Cold 3000. He
3,000?
Basically is. Well,
okay.
I mean, it can't be 2000 anymore because there was a Stone Cold in the 2000.
It's 2014? I don't know.
All right, fine. Stone Cold 2200. I don't know what you want from me, Sorg.
You're weird with numbers right now, and isn't your major like a math-related thing?
Engineering. I don't have to know time and space. I'm not a Time Lord.
Oh, I see how it is. Watch out for that moon. Anyways, so I did want to come around to the other mystery of the night. These Wyatt promos. We've been seeing the Luke Harper ones for a while.
Yes.
Then we saw a Rowan one tonight, which got even creepier. And then even creepier. I don't know if they're just in Halloween. And excuse me, I don't know if we labeled this as an explicit one, but I like to say that these vignettes are WWE reminding us that the Wyatts are evil as fuck, dude.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like this is a, hey guys, this is what's going on. Maybe you shouldn't be cheering them, you know, or something like that. Or it's just going to make people cheer harder when they come out. Like, holy crap, it's like Michael Myers' House of a Thousand Corpses stuff. I'm completely into this. iPhone in the air, right?
Well, they need to put them against people who aren't really easy to cheer.
They really need to come back and just destroy a bunch of people, first of all.
Well, yeah.
They've been in the main event scene. They've been kind of watered down because they've been the foil, and they've been foiled several times. So, yeah, they need to really just kind of wreak destruction. Like,
I think one of them needs gold. One of them needs, and yet they can build like an altar to the championship.
Okay, like kind of like what we're getting with the Gold Dust to Stardust. We're like, it's our cosmic key, and we worship this, you know, which I think has been done to really great effect because now it's like we had a. Well, you know what? Hey, think about this though. The Gold Stardust thing. We had like a month of these like random promos. We enjoyed the hell out of them, but really it was like, why aren't these guys on TV? What's going on? And they come up and they're in the title picture, right? The Wyatts are having weird ass promos. What, we've had like 2 or 3 weeks of Harper now with Rowan, and it'll probably just get weirder, and maybe we'll get them. Maybe Halloween they come out, and like Halloween SmackDown they come out and do something crazy.
Halloween is on a Friday.
It is on a Friday. Think about that, and look at the way these promos are going. You never know. But I'm enjoying it. But I'd love to see them on my TV.
The weird thing about the Wyatt promos, I don't know if there's something to this or if it's just in the Harper and Rowan promos. There's obviously a mention to females in both of them.
Okay.
And I wonder if we're actually going to get a Sister Abigail.
You think it's going to be somebody they bring up? You think, ooh, Sarah Del Rey.
Sarah Del Rey is a huge possibility.
I mean,
like,
I don't know how realistic of a possibility that is, but like, she could, you know, I mean, like, you know, we've had the discussion that she's not like a diva type body or anything like that, you know, but she's a tremendous wrestler, and to see her maybe doing a character like this might be the thing to do, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm really digging that idea.
Because it just seems like with Harper, you had she set him on this path. She like she did all this thing, and with Rowan, there's a pregnant woman in there, like just a pregnant belly that says it's coming. I feel like that has to mean something. I feel like that absolutely.
How long have we gone? And does a lot of this mean something? You know?
Well, I mean, again, it could just be a reference to the Sister Abigail that they've been talking about,
True.
for the entire time, and it's not like something we're ever going to see. But the fact that like It's Coming was written on a pregnant belly.
Yeah, that was weird. That was like what are you doing here, WWE? Like that was like completely outside anything you'd expect. You know?
And side note, I mentioned this in the Hangout. Why isn't the history of the Wyatts a WWE film that can come out in October for Halloween? Why are we suffering through Leprechaun Origins when we could see Wyatt Family Origins?
Did it take for Leprechaun Origins to finally come out? I feel like I think Hornswaggle filmed that thing like 2 years ago, and they don't even mention Hornswaggle's in it.
That's Sorg. I was listening to him on Talk Is Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
He's wearing a prosthetic that covers his entire face, and he doesn't even talk.
So they're not even going to plug like, hey, that's him under there. That seems weird.
Sorg, it's something that they wanted to make, and they just happened to have a midget. That's what it is.
Ready access. Listen, here's the thing. Okay, here's something for the community. What would you do if you had ready access to a midget?
You don't want to know.
Like this is the question. This is the question that's come out tonight's show. What would you do? Well, okay, how do you put this? What would you do for entertainment value?
What would you do with the midget man?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow, that happened. Okay. And we lost the one viewer after that.
Oh, it must have been. I'm sorry, midget that was listening to the Hangout. I apologize. It was probably Will. He was still asleep. But so yeah, the rest of Raw seemed kind of boring apart from those two segments, though. Like, was that just me?
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Like but then again, I listened to the Vince Russo thing today on Jim Ross's podcast, and now I have this like in the back of my head, like if a match goes over a commercial break, you lost how many viewers? Like that whole like concept is in the back of my head now when I'm watching Raw.
I don't think that's true though.
I don't know. I think it's partially true. It depends on the audience. I think there's a certain audience certainly that tune out. You know, the Raw is not for the casual. Raw is not for the casual fan anymore. Raw is for I'm going to turn in for a little bit. I want to watch Gotham, and I'm going to watch the rest. I want to watch the first hour, then I'm going to go watch Monday Night Football or however. I don't think they count on anybody to stick around. Unfortunately, I feel like USA is watering down WWE, and if WWE has any drop, it's because of the USA contract and USA wanting to make. Everybody's making money, good for them, but how much longer is that going to last?
It's because they wanted it 3 hours.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Very hard to fill 3. Like if you had a match that did a run over and the show was 2 hours long, I think that'd be better.
Yeah,
because then it would seem like an important match. Because you know they only have a certain amount of time, and this match is going to fill up a quarter of that time.
Well, okay, how do you like this idea? I want to riff on the. We don't usually do this kind of thing on the show, but I want to riff off the Vince Russo interview I listened to today. What if they had less longer matches, and we had more matches throughout the show? We got to feature more talent. You don't think so?
I don't want squash matches on the show.
No, maybe we need to. Maybe we need to go back to that a little bit.
But without jobbers, like actual tangible jobbers, you can't do that.
Well, I mean, we have built-in jobbers with your Heath Slaters and your Zack Ryders and Xavier Woodses and stuff. You know, I mean that's just people cycle down, they become jobbers for a bit, and they come back up, and let's give them a title run.
Yeah, but Sorg, if you're gonna tell me that, I'd rather see a 6-man tag of the Usos and Dolph versus Cesaro and the Dusts, rather than a Zack Ryder squash, a Xavier Woods squash, a Kofi squash.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see the longer match that I know is going to be actually competitive than opposed to 3 matches which I know are not going to be competitive.
It doesn't feel like for having a 3-hour Raw that we're seeing more of the roster.
Well, we're not.
No, but it's like we stretched out an extra hour, but we're seeing exactly the same number of people from the roster. Like I feel like more could be done.
Do you want to know the reason that we all popped hard for Emma tonight? Because we haven't seen her on Raw in months.
Exactly, and we're coming off a Raw last week that had 3 Divas matches.
Yeah, and Raw last week did not feel like 3 hours. Because it was engaging and exciting the whole way through. You can do a Raw that is 3 hours long. If you just envision every crowd, like if WWE writers just envision every crowd of Chicago and they're going to shit on every single thing you do, write the show like that. The reason the Attitude Era was so successful was because they had constant competition from Nitro. If you treat the crowd as your competition because the crowd wants to get themselves over and write it like that every week, make the crowd pay attention. Make the crowd pay attention to what you're putting on screen so they don't get a chance to chant Jarek Jeter. So they don't get a chance to chant for JBL. Like
So you like again going to the rest of I'm sorry, it's on the front of my mind for over, this conversation with us, but one thing they said about the Attitude Era was like they wrote the show to make sure you did not have an opportunity to want to click that channel. So that they wrote it as if you're sitting on that control what is on another channel. It doesn't have to be the other wrestling show anymore. Right now, it is a lot of other competition. It is your Gothams, your Sleepy Hollows, and your Monday Night Football. Right? There's a lot of other options out there, guys. I can pull up my phone and start watching shit. But so now I think your thing is applicable. They need to write the show to make sure the crowd doesn't look bored and makes your show look even more like crap when they're chanting for a guy that hasn't been around for they're chanting Derek Jeter, which is okay-ish, but or other random stuff, or for the announcers or something like that during a match because they don't like what's going on in the ring. I mean, there's just there's no oomph for anything. The only place where there's oomph and they're hungry is NXT, and we're all gravitating towards that, and I think a lot of people are.
I mean, the thing about if your live crowd doesn't look engaged in the product, why the hell would I be engaged in it?
Exactly.
Why? Exactly. They paid so much money to be there. So much money, especially the people on hard camera. If they're not entertained by what's in the ring, I'm not going to be entertained with what's in the ring.
Yeah, we're looking to go to Raw up in Western New York here in a little bit. I looked at the ticket prices. It's like, wow, it's a lot to just go see a TV show, But we are, because we like the experience of going and being there and everything, and we know we'll get a show,
And you're going with someone who wants to try to sexually assault Dean Ambrose.
Well, there's that too. Yeah, that'll just be entertaining in its own right. But but especially when you're going. They brought a lot to Brooklyn. They brought a lot to Brooklyn with The Rock. Unfortunately, we had Kathy Lee and that other lady.
But again, The Rock, love him or hate him, the crowd was into that. You were not going to change the channel regardless of whether or not you hate The Rock, because the crowd was entertained. And that was actually a fresh thing for The Rock to do. Because usually when The Rock comes out, it's with other legends. But The Rock came out to engage with someone who he's never seen in a WWE ring before, and his same old jokes felt kind of new because it was against someone who was reacting to them differently. Like, that's something they need more of, and it's something that they can do on a week-to-week basis, but they don't feel that they have to because they're not competing against anyone.
Yeah.
Like, all right. To go, because I know you want to wrap up. That's fine.
That's fine. I don't care anymore. I'm enjoying this conversation, so it's worthwhile to me.
Because I listened to the Russo and JR thing, and like you did, and I know how they're talking about what's the next big thing in wrestling. Because when Russo was writing wrestling, the big thing then was Shock TV. That was the big thing, and that's why the Attitude Era was so successful. And I think I may have figured it out, at least in my brain, what the next real big thing is. And it's going back to the stuff that you mentioned. There's a lot of really good TV on there. And you know what all of those TV shows have in common? Like Breaking Bad, Sleepy Hollow, Gotham, Arrow, everything you can possibly watch on TV. Really, really, really good writing. Really good writing. Even if you don't like the actors, if you don't like the season finales or the series finales, it's really, really good writing.
We are in a golden age of television. They keep saying that.
Yeah, and
It's not, but it's not in wrestling right now.
No, it's not, and that's what wrestling needs. That's what wrestling needs to become.
You gotta think what we always kind of joke about Raw when it was on top is like, make sure you tune in for Silk Stockings, La Femme Nikita. You know, La Femme Nikita. You know, I mean that was your other thing. Like even the stuff on USA is compelling. You know, your white collars, your burn notice, I know half of these are gone now. Psych. You know, I mean that stuck around, and WWE really fit into the character model that USA Network had. And you're right. It's they haven't. I feel like somebody hasn't looked up and looked around, and they're seeing all the ashes of all the wrestling companies, but they're not seeing all of the great entertainment that's risen up around them. Now they are smart. They are stepping up to a certain point with the network, and you see them competing with that level. It's like, oh, look at all these new ways people are getting Netflix and stuff, and we're competing with that. Well, we should have one too. You know. And I think they're doing.
You know who the best written character is in WWE programming right now, Sorg?
Rusev.
No, even better than Rusev.
Dean?
Nope. Better than Dean. Better than Seth.
Stephanie?
Nope. Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd. No. My point is, Tyson Kidd has built a character on an programming show on Total Divas. He built that character on Total Divas. He brought it to NXT, where it originally got over, and was put over by Paul Heyman, who was really good at putting over things. Then he brought it to main event with Fantasy Booker and Natalya trying to get him on the show. Then he went to SmackDown, and now he has been on Raw 2 weeks in a row doing this asshole husband gimmick, and it is the best written character in WWE. Because
and it has risen up, and it's kind of like what we talk with the Wyatts and everything. Like, oh, everything developed down here on NXT with the Wyatts, and then they stepped up, and everybody else got to see it, right? So now everybody on Raw that just watched Raw was like, "Was this Tyson Kidd? What he's doing? Wait a minute!" And then they show some Total Divas or NXT clips or main event clips or whatever, and we're like, "Wait, he's doing what now? What is this about?" You know? And everybody gets to play catch up with it. And once again, we're sitting around saying, "Tell the people what you told me about your friend that got into Total Divas."
Oh yeah, one of my friends does not watch wrestling at all. She does watch Total Divas though because she's addicted to programming. So she asked me about Tyson Kidd. She asked me about Natty and the Bellas and all stuff like that. So I showed her some stuff from WrestleMania and some stuff from NXT. And she just happened to turn on Raw tonight because of Kathy Lee and Hoda. And she's like, "Why is Natty's husband kicking people in the face? This is awesome." That's how you do it. That's how you do it. That is the next generation of wrestling. You need intricate storylines. So that's very smart.
That did happen, like, next segment after the Kathy Lee thing, right?
Yes, it did.
So it brought over, like, hey, everybody remembers this from Total Divas. That's actually good positioning.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, for all I'm bitching because I'm not seeing wrestling or I'm seeing the wrong kind of wrestling. For us wrestling fans, remember we're not the only audience. Obviously with the Susan G. Komen thing, because I'm watching the speech later in the show, and great cause and everything, and they do it every year. I love that WWE does this, but I'm looking at this and they're doing this, and I'm thinking, I don't think this is the most empathetic crowd you could be doing this in front of, especially in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah. People in Brooklyn don't care about anything.
Exactly. I witnessed this. I pissed off a man in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure he could kick my ass. It's very, very true. But it, again, kind of goes to, like, it's not all the Attitude Era, 25 to 30 somethings, or 18 to 30 somethings that they targeted before. I mean, it is a widespread. It's going to be for everybody, but there's going to be something for everybody, which means it's more diluted. So.
And Sorg, I'd argue we're not even any of the audience anymore. No, we're not.
And that's
we're
why
not because they know we're gonna watch.
Yeah.
They know we're gonna watch.
Exactly. This discussion's come up too. It was like we're gonna watch regardless. They know they don't need to capture us. I think there's some of us that might be tuning over to football.
Yeah, it's a small percentage.
But they're getting all their Total Divas chicks from E Network coming over and starting to watch Raw.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. I know I was very loudly proclaiming on the Mayhem Twitter account tonight, who is this for, when we're on the Kathy Lee and everything. But again, in retrospect, looking back at the Susan G. Komen stuff and everything else, it does make sense, and it's a broader picture. It's bigger than the guys that still want HLA to come back. Mike, I think that's a good point to end this. This is definitely the longest one of these we've probably done in a while, for one thing. You guys, if you want more discussion like this, we do this 9 p.m. Eastern Time at live.sorgatronmedia.com. Go to WrestlingMayhemShow.com. The link will be up there. And we also do great interviews at 11 p.m. Eastern Time on the Indie Mayhem Show, same place at live.sorgatronmedia.com. So check that out if you want to check out this in audio. If you're catching us on the YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Everything's coming through the Wrestling Mayhem Show super feed on iTunes and Stitcher. You'll get these wrap-ups, after shows, game shows, as well as all the proper shows. Or subscribe to Indie Mayhem or Wrestling Mayhem Show independently on all those platforms as well, for the audio, of course. So with that, I'm at Mad Mike 4883 up there in Poughkeepsie, New York. I'm at Sorgatron here in the Twitters. Check out everything else going on at sorgatronmedia.com. We got some great stuff coming up. I just posted a Sabu show, VOW Vicious Outcast Wrestling, Sabu versus G Raver. I know there was a barbed wire table involved, so go check that out. It's only $7.99 over there at sorgatronmedia.com, right there on the front page. So with that, that's it. See you guys next week. Enjoy the rest of the shows throughout the week. And I'll see you guys next week for Raw.